itself says securities lending and borrowing. This product helps investors to earn an extra income out of their idle stocks. Today's webinar will be on product called SLBM. We'll also talk about how to place orders, how to earn an extra income out of the idle stocks, how will a customer check how many stocks are available from nseindia.com. We'll check the prices and yields as well. So let's go with the presentation. Let's go with the webinar first. When I talk about securities lending and borrowing, this is a facility wherein investors can earn an extra income out of the idle shares. When I talk about a word called income, it is a very important thing we should understand. Income from SLBM is guaranteed, settled, and everything is cleared, which means there is a clearing corporation called NCL, which takes care of all the clearing part, guaranteeing part, and the settlement part. Hence, this is a risk-free additional income or incremental income in the hands of investors. So, investors who have stocks for a long-term period, who do not wish to sell their stocks, can give these shares to the borrower and earn a risk-free income without any capital gains. Now, when I use the word called lending and borrowing, it should be very important to us for us to understand. Lending means a person who is giving shares to the borrower for a certain period of time. However, lending doesn't mean he has sold the securities. Lending is simply termed as giving shares to the borrower for a temporary period, and borrower will use those shares for some certain reasons. Hence, lenders, when they give their shares to the borrowers, they get an additional income out of it. As the first feature states, additional income from ideal portfolio. As I stated above, it's guaranteed. Hence, all the settlements are guaranteed and protection of all the rights as a owner. So the lenders are always having secured income out of the idle stocks when they give it to the borrowers. There are multiple stocks available on SLBM. Around 680 scripts are available in SLBM. Derivatives and FNO derivative stocks are also available, wherein investors can lend their shares to the borrower and earn an income. The third point states enable short sell, which means here investors who give the shares or lenders who give the shares to the borrowers have a bearish view in this market. So the first reason, as a borrower, he has a short-term borrowing. Wherein he has a bearish view in this market. He will sell the stock in the market and buy when the market falls. So that becomes a trader's profit. The fourth point states no counterparty risk. When I say no counterparty risk, it means NCL, that is Clearing Corporation, acts as a financial guarantor for all SLBM transactions, and hence the risk is covered by NCL, that is Clearing Corporation. The entire risk is covered by Clearing Corporation. The second question may arise, for how much period will a lender give these shares? Lender will give the shares for a period of 1 month till 12-month maximum period. From 1 month till 12-month maximum period. Hence, transactions which are or the shares which are given to the borrower comes back on the first Thursday of the settlement month. The reverse leg, for example, if I have given shares for the month of April, if I have given shares for the month of April, the shares will be credited back in my demat account on 6th of April, as 6th April is the first Thursday. So all the settlement happens on the respective months, that is the first Thursday of all the respective months. For example, I have given shares for the month of March. The shares will be credited into my demat account on 2nd of March. Maximum, we can give shares for the 12 months period. However, liquidity would be there for 1 month to 2 months maximum. So there is a liquidity risk wherein investors wishes to give shares for 12 months. However, there are no borrowers to take the shares for 12 months. Borrowers are basically there for a period of 30 days, maximum 45 days. So the best rates which lenders will get it for maximum 30 to 45 days. The second question may arise, when will the income come? If I have given shares to the borrower for the month of April, today, for example, today I have given the shares for the month of April. When will the share? When will I get the funds? For example, today is 24th, being Friday. I would get the funds, the lending fee on 27th. That is T plus one. On T plus one basis, I would get the shares in. I would get the funds, and I would be able to use those funds. By securities in lending and borrowing, the very important factor is the lenders and borrowers. Lenders, it's very simple. Lenders earn an additional income, a guaranteed additional income, which we talked about. However, borrowers, the main function of borrower is to do short sell in the market. When the trader has a negative view, he can borrow the shares from SLBM, sell them in the market, and buy them when the market falls. The difference between the selling and the buying price is the trader's profit or the borrower's profit. The second reason for the borrower is cash future arbitrage, wherein, for example, I as a borrower, I had done any futures and options transactions wherein I have a physical settlement to be done. So I will borrow the shares from the lender, close the first leg of transaction, and then buy the shares from the market and give it back to the lender. That's the second way wherein borrowers will use those shares. However, as it's stated on the slide, the main function is borrower has a negative view in this market and he can do the short sell. That's a major, I would say, the major function of the SLBM for borrowers. Now, when we go about SLBM, we should be very clear about there are two types of series in SLBM, Series A and Series B. How it differs from each other, we will talk about that as well. Series A, as we all are aware of it, that there are corporate actions given to the investors by the companies. Those corporate actions are given to the shareholders when the shares are kept in their demat account. Now, in Series A, if I have given suppose some shares to the borrower in Series A, any kind of corporate action, 2 days prior to the X date, 2 days prior to the X date, the corporate action event X date, the shares will be mandatorily closed, the contract will be mandatorily closed, and shares will be debited from the borrower's account and credited to the lender's account, as the lender is the beneficiary owner. Net benefit goes to the lender, where lenders will use those shares and lenders will take the benefit of corporate action. On a contradictory, in Series B, the contract closes in all the cases except in case of dividend and stock split. In case of dividend and stock split, contract continues. Contract continues. In case of dividend and stock split, contract continues. Whenever the contract is closed, the shares, the original shares with the benefits of stock split or dividend will be credited back to the demat account of the lender, as the lender is the beneficiary owner. So when lender would get the shares in their demat account at the end of the contract period, in case of dividend and stock split. In case of dividend and stock split. Other than this, any kind of corporation, the contract closes and the shares will be debited from the borrower's account and credited back to the lender's account. Since lender is the beneficiary owner of those securities. So how will we, whenever we place an order, it is important we should check that whenever we're placing an order, see it's series A or series B. In case if it is series A or series B, it is defined, and lenders need to be very careful while placing an orders. For example, if I am placing an order for the month of April series B for TCS, I will mention as TCXX4. TCSX4, which means I am giving shares to the borrower. For the period of until April, first Thursday of April, and this is for the series B. Since I am mentioning TCS X4, X denotes series B and 4 is the month, that is April month. For example, if I am giving IRCTC for the month of May, series A, I will mention as IRCTC 05. IRCTC 05. For example, I'm giving HCL for April series 4, series A, I'll mention as HCL 04. So every script has a descriptor, and every script behind that script name, I will mention it as series B for X denoting as X 4, 5, 6, 7, that is for April, May, June, July, or 04, 05, that is numeric numbers, that is for series A. When we learned about an extra income, whatever that extra income is taxable or not. As I stated, lenders are giving these shares as a capital transfer for a certain period of time. Since these shares are given to the borrower for a certain period of time, it is not seen as a capital transfer, but it is a temporary lend. Hence, it is considered as income from other sources. Hence, the income is considered as income from other sources. Neither it is considered as a capital gain. Hence, there is no short-term or a long-term capital gain. It is not considered as a short-term or a long-term capital gain, but the income or the lending fee which the lender will receive will be considered as income from other sources. Now let us check on the website how do we place an orders, how to check nscindia.com, and how will I place an orders as well. I'll simply go to nscindia.com. I have a market data. Since I am looking at the market, I'll click on market data. I'll click here on SLBM, Securities Lending and Borrowing, under Market Watch. Once I click on SLBM under Market Watch, I will get the filters by, so I'll get Series A and Series B. As I explained, Series A, any kind of corporation, the contract closes. Any kind of corporation, the contract closes. In case of Series B, Hello. Yeah, sorry. So here in as we can see, Series A and Series B. Series A, wherein contract closes in case of any kind of correction. In case of Series B, contract will close except in case of dividend and stock split. The contract continues. In both the series, contract will close 2 days prior to the ex date. Now I want to see series B for the month of April. I'll check the prices. So here I can see symbol, that is the stock name, borrower's price, quantity and the price. Here I can see India Mart 2990. There's a borrower for 2990 shares. The price quoting is 80 rupees. However, there's a lender at a price quoting at 99 rupees for 80 shares. LTP was 80. Current market price of that share is 4,809. Future price quoting is 4709. The spread between these two is around 100 rupees and the spread percentage is around 2%. These are the open positions in the contract and annualized yield is around 14%. So this is how investors can check the details in nseindia.com and they can place the orders. However, I can see for others as well. Here, if I can see She Cement, 100 shares, there's a borrower for 330 shares. However, there's a lender for 19 shares for 380 shares. Last traded price was 330. Underlying price is 25,000 per share equity market. Futures price is 25,278. 302 is the spread between the underlying, that is cash market, and the futures. 1.8 is the spread in percentage terms. 11% is the analyzed E, 11.48. So this is how I can see the prices quoted in nseindia.com. Now, if I want to place an order, I'll simply go to HDFC Securities website and first initially take the privilege. Privilege is absolutely free of cost. I'll simply click on HDFC Securities. I'll click on products. I'll click on products. Under equity, since it is an equity market, under equity section, I'll get something called securities lending and borrowing. I'll get something called securities lending and borrowing. Once I click here, I'll get the details about SLB, the benefits, how to get privilege, and FAQs with regards to the same. Sorry. How to get privilege. The first thing, investors should know how to get privilege. There are two ways of taking privilege, either taking by offline mode or an online mode. Online mode is fast, easy, and quick. I'll simply click here. I'll read the terms and conditions. It's absolutely free of cost. That privilege taking is absolutely free of cost. I click on proceed. I'll enter my username. I'll enter my password. I'll enter the captcha. I'll get an OTP on my registered mobile number and email ID. I'll click on login. It's asking me to upload a document. It's very important for investors to upload any one of the documents which is stated below, which is stated on the screen. I need to mention my income range. I need to upload any of the document, that is ITR copy or a Form 16, salary slip or a bank statement for last 6 months, DP holding, valuation more than 10,000, LIC policy, KVC, bank fixed deposit or a mutual fund statement. Any one of the documents needs to be uploaded, which should be password protected free. There should be no password while uploading the documents. The document should not be in Excel format as well. So in case I want to upload a salary slip, I'll simply click on salary slip and upload the latest salary slip by choosing the file. If I wish to upload the ITR copy, I can upload the ITR copy as well, and I'll click on submit. Once I click on submit, I'll get the mail from operations team from HDFC Securities stating the privilege has been granted. Once the privilege is granted, this is very important step. Once the privilege is granted, after 24 to 48 hours, investors can start placing orders. Privileges are absolutely free, wherein investors can take privilege on SLBM. Once privilege is granted, investors needs to click on the login button. Here on the right hand side, we have a login button. I'll click on login. I'll enter with my username and password. I'll get an OTP. I'll verify my OTP. This is my empowered or ITS trading platform, that is internet trading system, that is empowered website where investors can place orders with regards to equity, derivatives, mutual funds, apply for an IPO, buyback, OFS. Investors can check the contract notes, their ledgers, their bank statements, their DP holding, their valuations, the profit and loss report, capital gain report, even their portfolios are available over here. In the same platform, investors will be able to trade in SLBM as well. So since it is an equity market, I'll simply click on equity. I'll go to equity tab. In equity tab, I have something called SLBM. Here I have something called borrow, wherein I need to borrow shares. Lend, when I'm ready to lend my shares. Order book for SLBM. Trade book for SLBM. And day view is the day view book for the trades being placed during the day. For example, I want to place an order. I'll simply click here on lend. A lend panel window will appear. A lend panel window will appear. I want to place an order for a stock called ITC. Now I have something called 0102, that is Series A January, Series B, Series A Feb, Series A March, Series A April. I'll go to Series X1, X2, X3, X4. I'll click on X4, that is for April. I'll get the codes for the stocks which is being quoted. So there is no borrower in the stock. However, there are lenders of 25 paisa, well, 1,12,000 shares. There are different lenders are quoting at different prices. So for example, I want to lend 10 shares at a price of 0.24. So since I have a lender here, 0.24, I will lender at 25 paisa for 1,12,000 shares, 1,12,500 shares. I'll place an order. My order will be placed above this. I'll click on confirm. This is my confirm panel window. I'll have to select my demat account number, the account wherein the shares will be debited and debited and given to the borrower. I click on confirm. Once I click on confirm, you can see I have placed in 10 shares, 0.24 order, 0.24 per share, 10 shares, one lender. So I'm the lender which is standing at 24 paisa for 10 shares. Now I can see my details out here. I can even cancel my order. If I want to cancel, I want to modify, I can simply click on equity. In equity section, I have something called order book. So I can see my order book. I have this order is still pending. And if I want to cancel, I can cancel. If I want to modify, I can modify the order as well. I want to modify, I'll click on modify. I'll enter as 1 rupee. For example, I click on place order, confirm order. Order has been modified at 1 rupee. If you want to cancel, I can simply click here on cancel and confirm. So this is how I can place order in SLBM. The most important question, Where will I get the list of stocks which are available in SLBM? We can go to HDFC Securities website again. Here we have something called products, as I earlier showed. In equity, I have something called securities lending and borrowing. I click on securities lending and borrowing, and I click on FAQs. Here I have how many list of stocks are eligible for SLBM. I simply click here and I'll get the list of eligible stocks scripts downloaded in my system. So these are the list of eligible scripts which are there in my SLBM. So this is how I can place an order. In case some investors may say, okay, fine, I want to see all these details on the script and the prices in my watch list. I'll simply click on home. I'll create a new watch list. I'll create a new watch list as I've created here. I'll create a new watch list out here, new watch list, SLBM, Ashwin. I'll click on save. Okay. Give me a minute. Now new watch list has been created. In this new watch list, I want to add SLM stocks. I'll simply click here. Add a security, NSE, SLBM, ITC, X4. So I can see here ITC X4 has been quoted. I want to add a security, for example, IRCTC, X4. So here I can see quotes for IRCTC and ITC for April series return. The reverse leg happens on 6th of April. I want to add a security, for example, TCS for X5. TCS X5, that is for the month of May. There are no borrowers and sellers, hence the name is not showing on the watch list. So this is how I can check the prices, I can place the orders, I can take privilege in SLBM. I request investors to have more questions and doubts so I can clear their doubts and clear their questions, queries as well. The last thing, when I talk about SLBM, investors would also say, okay, how much is the net income? As I said, guaranteed income. How much is the guaranteed income which I'll get? How much is the brokerage which HDFC Securities will earn or charge from me? For example, I have a shares called Sri Cement and the quoting price is 330 from the borrower. 380 is the best price which lenders ready to give at 19 shares, right? For example, I have 100 shares and I want to give 100 shares at 330 rupees. So I'll simply click here on Excel and I'll enter stock value as stock lending is 330 and I have 100 shares. And if I enter 100 shares, I will get the entire details. Here I would get, if you can see here, 330 100 shares 33,000 minus 15% brokerage is 4950, 18% on GST. Net income I as a lender I would earn as 27,159. 27,159. So this is how I as a lender I can earn an extra income out of my idle stocks, which I kept in my portfolio long term, and I do not intend to sell in a near term future. An important point to be noted: if I have given these shares to the borrower for a period of 1 month or 2 months, I do not have a right to recall those shares. The shares will be credited back on the reverse leg settlement automatically in my default demat account. I request investors to ask their doubts and queries so that I can answer all all their doubts and their questions as well. I request investors to have their doubts, have their questions so that I can answer all their queries. Okay, there's a question, Mr. Rajiv. Tell us how to place borrowing orders. Thank you. Sure, sir. I'll definitely show you. I'll simply go to our HDFC Securities website. I want to place an order for borrowing. I'll simply click here, equity. I want to borrow shares. I'll click on borrow. I want to borrow shares called ITC X4. That is April will be the date wherein I need to return the shares on 5th of April, and shares will be credited to the lender on 6th of April. I'll mention the quantity and the price at 0.01. And I'll click on place order. Once I click on place order, I confirm the order. It will ask my bank account to hold. I confirm and hold the shares. The order has been placed. So here I can see ITC-X4, their orders for ITC. Here, one share, one borrower at 1 paisa. I want to change the order. I can change the order. I can simply go here, click on order book, pending order. I want to modify. I'll click on modify. I'll change it 5 paisa. My order will get placed. Confirm, hold. My order gets confirmed for 5 paisa. I can see my get code and I can check the modified order. The price is mentioned here. So this is how I can place the order, and I can modify the order from our internet trading platform. There's a question, Mr. Sandeep. Please explain contract path of both the series. The contract path for both the series, uh, you meant to say the contract note. If it is contract note, the contract note will be sent on your registered address. However, the shares will be credited or debited in your demat account. And if there's any corporate actions in contract in series A, the shares will be credited back. If you are a lender, the shares will be credited back 2 days prior to the X date. Okay, there's a question, Ms. Rupali. What are the risks involved in lending a security? Ma'am, as I said, there is no risk involved in lending a security because uh, risk-free guaranteed income. Risk-free income. So there is no risk involved. However, yes, there can be a price risk. Today, the price of a share or price of a script which you are lending is at 100 rupees. Tomorrow, it may go to 200 or it may go to 50 rupees. So there's a price risk. Once the contract is entered, once you have entered into contract, you cannot recall those shares or you cannot cancel the contract. Okay, there's a question from Mr. Gopal. How much return on an average can be expected on basis of share value? Sir, it depends on the share, it depends on the borrowers. As a borrower driven market, it all depends. As I showed you the yield, your yield mentioned here is the approximate yield. For example, if you can see Indus Tower yield is around 31%. So the yield will differ on a daily basis because the prices of the stocks and the prices of the borrower prices will change. So depending on the borrower, the yield will also change. Okay, there's a question from Ms. Rupali. Can the borrower or lender shares be sold? Ma'am, if the borrower has taken the shares, borrower will sell the shares and buy the shares to 1 day prior to the reverse leg. However, if a lender has already lent the shares to the borrower, lender shares will not cannot be sold because lender shares has been already given to the borrower. Hence, lender will have to wait for the shares to be credited back in their demat account in case lender wishes to sell the shares. Okay, there's a question, Mr. Sandeep. Who stands guarantor in case of any disputes? Is it Hdfc Securities or NSEindia.com or NSE? Now here, as I stated, NSE is the guarantor. So all the transactions clearing settlement is undertaken by by NSCL. In case of the any disputes between the borrower and the lender, NSCL has already taken 125% guarantee from the borrower. Hence, NSCL is the person who is going to take care of the guarantee, clearing, and settlement. You, as a client of HDFC Securities, would get the shares, or in case there's a default by borrower, then you would get the funds with the benefits of penalties charged to the borrower. Any other questions, sir, ma'am? Okay, there's a question, Ms. Rupali. When the contract ends, are the shares credited at a market price applicable on that date or the rate at which the shares were lent? Ma'am, you would get the shares returned back. If I have given 100 shares to the borrower, I would get 100 shares back again in my demat account. In case there is a stock split, then, and in case of series B, then I would get the 100 shares plus the benefits of corporate action in my demat account. There's a question from Mr. Gopal. Can you explain the period of lending X, etc.? Okay, fine. Sir, here uh, in this case, when you talk about X defines Series B. When you give these shares to the borrower, when you give these shares to the borrower, X denotes its Series B. So, for example, if I want to give shares called Polycab, so I will mention as Polycab X4, or I will mention as Polycab X3, or I'll mention as Polycab X5. It denotes that you have given those shares for the Series B. In case of any corporate action, the shares will be returned back 2 days prior to the X date, except in case of dividend and stock split. In case of dividend stock split, the contract continues. In case of dividend stock split, the contract continues, and the original shares with the benefits of dividend or splits will be credited after the reverse leg settlement. The funds, if in case there's a dividend, the funds will be credited in your trading ledger account. It will be credited in your trading account. Okay, there's a question, Mr. Sandeep. What happens in case bonus shares are issued in Series B? In Series B, when bonus shares are issued, the contract will close 2 days prior to the X date, and the shares will be credited into the lender's account, as the lender is the beneficiary owner of those securities. The benefits will be given only to the lender. At the end of the contract, all the benefits will be given to the lender. There's a question, Mr. Gopal. What will happen to dividend on shares TDS by the company? Yes, if there's a TDS directed by the company and the funds will be credited to the borrower's account, the entire dividend will be debited from the borrower's account and credited back to the lender's account, as lender is the owner. For example, 100 rupees dividend has been provided by the company to the shareholders. During that period, contract period, the shares were there in the hands or in the demat account of the borrower. After deducting TDS, it was 90 rupees which was credited. NCL will ensure 100 rupees will be debited from the borrower's account and credited back to the lender's account, since borrower will charge for the TDS received or being deducted from the company. So he will have to make a computation with his chartered accountant for the TDS being debited for the shares which he has used, which was not owned by him, which was owned by the lender. I hope I have been addressing all your queries and doubts. It has been pleasure being with all of you today. Thank you so very much. Please be connected with us. We'll be having more webinars with regards to Pro Terminal, with regards to derivatives, with regards to our ITS platform, with regards to small case, device IP, MTF. All these webinars are conducted by our product managers. Thank you for your patience. I wish you a very good day. Goodbye, and do take very good care of yourselves. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.